I'm Adrian Djura, and I'm, as Andre said, co-founder and CTO of Eipix Entertainment, game development studio from Serbia. And I will try to give you some tips through our stories to see how did we manage to scale to that number of people, how to make a sustainable company, how to make your job to be game development, to live out of that. I started with game development while I was at university doing part time. But when I finished my studies, I wanted to um, create something on my own. So I chose to move back with my parents because I could not afford to rent a place in Belgrade where I studied. It was too expensive for me, and because I only needed a place to sleep, something to eat, internet access, and that's what was the best for me. The problem was that my parents they didn't understand that I was trying to make something and I'm not just playing games, and they were always interrupting me, wanted something from me. All my friends were working and I didn't earn anything, so that bothered them a lot. I convinced them after a lot of talking to give me 1 year to leave me alone for 1 year until I do something, until I create something, earn money. And if I fail, I will do whatever they want. I will accept a job somewhere in the financing sector, banking. I don't know, something boring, let's say, because I am programmer, so it's easier for me to find job. But I didn't want that. Uh, so the interesting part in working in game development was that even when I played games in my spare time, when my mother entered my room, she just said, "Oh, you're working," and she left. So it was very interesting. I could enjoy really without someone bothering me to play games. Um, so first thing to note for people who want to start something is to find a place where you could work. You could think that it's easy to do that, but if you finish studies, your parents will not finance you to just do nothing. Let's say, as they think something of that, and you need to manage your life to find some kind of peace where you could work uninterrupted. A lot of people work at night and because everybody else is sleeping, so there's nobody to bother you on the phone and everything. It's even harder if you have family and kids. It's very very hard to organize your life of your work. So um, if you can afford, let's say, a co-working space somewhere or something like that, it is a very good thing to do if you cannot work from home or some other place. So it's very important for you to find somewhere where you could work uninterrupted on your project. Um, while I was trying to do something with my projects, Mirko, who is the CEO of our company, approached me with the idea to create a company with one more guy, game development company with one more guy. And we have all different skills. This picture that it's quite popular in the Silicon Valley about what you need for startups is something that represents us. I was the hacker, the programmer who was building the game. Vladimir, the hipster, let's say, he was the creative artist who was doing all the art, creative design. And the third, Mirko, who is the CEO, he was the hustler. He was someone um, who talked with publishers, who was trying to manage the company. At first, there was only two of us, but later, as we grew, he managed the all company. And it's very important for you to have partners on if you want to do game development. It's very hard to do something on your own. There are exceptional people on this scene that can do a lot of things alone, but I am not one of them, and we were not that people. We need different skills to compensate weakness of each other. So it's very important to find people with who you work. Don't team with three programmers or something like that. It will not work. You need to find different skills. So that's why it's very important. We wanted to do uh, games differently than we did previously, because previously we worked on games that we liked. It was a hobby, something like that, and they don't earn money mostly. because you are doing something that you like. So we investigated the market and wanted to make something that will earn money, and it was casual games. We found that casual games earn money. This is the audience for casual games mostly, and particularly we were interested in hidden objects puzzle adventure games. Uh, those games are simplified point and click adventures, 2D adventures, where you solve puzzles and you are searching for hidden objects. So it was something that we could easily make, three of us. It was not a complex game, uh, so we could do something like that. We choose carefully what kind of game to make. We found that these games were quite stable. They're earning quite a good amount of money. So we knew that if we make a good game that's already something similar that's already on the market, we could earn money with that. So also one more tip is that you need to carefully choose your game. Um, do your research. You need to find something that will earn money and to listen to feedbacks and everything. It's very hard if you try to make, let's say, that you think that you have an innovative game or something like that. Most people make mistakes there. Um, Although I said that there are a lot of different people who have made success. Nick, who was before me, he made success, but he also said that it's very hard if you fail with that game. So we were trying to find something that we know that will earn money. There are a lot of kind of games that out there that you could choose, you could pick. So you need to do your research very good. And we found that Big Fish Games was the leader on that market. As you have Steam for PC games, you have Big Fish for Hoppa games. And the problem was how to approach them, because we made a demo in approximately 1 month. We made a demo that we were satisfied, and we wanted that demo to show to Big Fish. So we found that they went to conferences. They are attending some conferences, and we went to those conferences. In this case, it was Casual Connect, and we even booked the same hotel as them, eat at the same restaurant, go to the same parties. We did everything that we can so that we are near them to, let's say, not, I would not say stalking them, but it's something like that. So um, you are trying to approach those people. At the beginning, when we begin, all people were not so open to questions and everything. You see now that you can ask anyone here, and they will tell you everything. But at the beginning, the atmosphere was not like that. And we managed to get a meeting with them, and we showed them our demo. They were, let's say, satisfied. They saw the potential in us. The game was not good, but they saw that we can make something, and they gave us feedback, a lot of feedback. We made a lot of improvements on that game, and they finally decided um, to sign a contract with us uh, about that game. So here the point here is networking and conference. You already know that probably because you're already here. So try to meet a lot of people, ask questions, find information that you would not find on the internet, talk with a lot of people. We even found about hidden object puzzle adventure games on those conferences from friends. So it's very important for your relationship maybe with publisher, to see, maybe to speak to publisher to see what kind of games they are trying to finance. Um, the kind of game they want to do. So maybe you could do something like that. Remember that you are doing this for um, let's let's say money. You like to make games, but at first you need to earn some money in order to have funds to make a game maybe that you like. So we are doing this to make a living out of it. The alternative is to work in other boarding sector, as I said. So that's why we are trying now to make money here, to choose a game wisely that you want. So make your conferences and networking useful. Find information that you can. This is our first game that we launched, and it took us 12 months to do it. And it was a success. It was a hit game. It was #1 on charts. We do everything great, a lot of hard work. And Big Fish then decided to sign a contract with us where we would be exclusive partners with them for 5 years. That means that we cannot publish a game with other publisher, but only with big fish. So that was a great deal for us because we knew how to make games and not how to sell them. So that's why we decided to sign the contract because it gave us opportunity to repeat the whole process and scale. Um, the key to our scaling was education. We could not afford to employ um, experienced people because you don't have many experienced people, especially in Serbia. And if you find them, they're very expensive. So at the beginning, you don't have funds to invest in them, to hire them. And we needed to create them. So we decided to make our pipeline as easy as possible. And we make even our own engine, our own scripting language for programmers who don't know how to program, let's say something like that. Because let's be honest, they were cheaper. Um, they the formal education was bad and they didn't know how to program, but they want to be programmers. So we could get them for, let's say, for smaller price, and when they learn, they will advance. The salary will grow and everything. So most of the programmers that were at the beginning working for low salary now have high salary. So we didn't keep them on lower salaries, of course. But at the beginning, it was a benefit for us because we could invest smaller amount of money for that. For all other professions, we seeked in the unusual places. We seeked for people who are highly motivated, who want to work in game development, but they didn't have contact with that. So we searched at restaurants, cafe bars, car parts shops. One of our producers was selling, one of our best producers was selling car parts. We have a 3D modeler who was working as a chef at restaurant. We even have an economist who is a 2D painter. So, and it's proved that they are the best people because they know how hard it is to earn money in those previous jobs that they had. And it's very high unemployment rate in Serbia. So a lot of good people are working on those, let's say, jobs that they are not satisfied with. So that's why they are willing to give everything that they can to be the best they can, even for a smaller salary, because we are a small startup and we are everything. We are trying everything to make a company that will be successful. So that was one of the key things that we managed to do. So I put here education because I think that at the beginning where you found your, let's say you found your partners, you say everything, and you need to gather people that are not founders, that but they're willing to work with you. So you need someone who wants to learn a lot and try to teach them everything you know, because they will grow in people who will one day lead your company or part of your company, and that's why you need to groom them to be the best they can. So that's how we started. Uh, when we acquired a lot of people, we made those processes for education, let's say, and we begin to ship Hopa titles to scale a lot. And this is the number of games that we published through years. In our first year, actually, we started in 2011. 2012, we shipped our first title. There was only one game. 2013, 8 games. And it scaled to 15, 23, 23. Now, this year, 24 will be. And we will stay on that level. So it's quite a big scale. We published until now 82 games. And for one game, it took us, now it takes us 6 months, but in the beginning it takes 12. It took 12 months for one game. So we optimize the process a lot. We have now 12 teams who make 2 years per game. So that's how we managed to make this kind of games. All our games are published on PC, iOS, Mac, Android, multi-platform engine that we made, and I would not suggest you to do that because we did that because we didn't have choice. At the time when we started, the Unity was not ready for 2D games. Well, it was not optimized for mobile phones, and we needed to do something to start. And it's now it's too expensive to change the technology for our games and our whole pipeline. For a new kind of games that we are making, we are using Unity for all those games. So we are using Unity and our own technology. And we, let's say, conquered the Hopa market, and we are a quarter of games we are publishing, actually delivering, let's say. And now it's time to move to another market. We wanted to move to another market, to conquer another market, let's say. And it was free-to-play market. And we wanted to take Supercell from its throne, to make a match 3 game that will earn more amount of money than Candy Crush Saga. And we applied the same principles that we made in Hop. Hire a lot of inexperienced people, we will educate them, they will learn how to make games, and they will make a lot of games. So that ended as a disaster. We spent 2 years of development on match 3 game, and we threw it away. The game was in soft launch with Big Fish, our publisher, and they decided to cut the game because it didn't have good metrics. It's not earning money. It's free to play, and you need to have good metrics. It's not the same as in Hoppa, where you have premium games, and you cannot apply the same principles where you have the same kind of game. The story is different, gameplay is a bit different, and you're repeating that. Here, you cannot make clones. At the same time, we wanted also to make a game which was a Heyday clone. It didn't arrive to soft launch. We cut it at the beginning. Also, we made a lot of smaller projects. Also, the same principle: a lot of people, a lot of teams. You can probably assume that there are also clones. Some other games we tried to self-publish this game, and they all failed. Because we were trying to scale like the same thing we are trying to do in the Hoppa, we are trying to do in the free-to-play market. And at that point, we had around 400 people, and we had a negative cash flow because of all those other games did not earn anything, and we needed to do something very hard for us to lay off people. So we laid off around 100 people, and it was a very hard hit for us to lay off people who work with you. And well, I would say this tip is about that. You need to be smart when you scale. We made a mistake because when we scale Hoppa, we made a game that is successful and repeat that process. In free-to-play, we didn't make a game that's successful, that's profitable. We started with, I think, 20 projects at one time we had, but we didn't finish one project where we could learn what happened. So that's why you need to think about scaling. Also, we reorganized the complete company, where we have people who know how to work now. Smaller project, not smaller project, but smaller number of projects. So we are doing also a match 3. Different with innovations. We are trying to innovate something there as much as we can. And we are going with a publisher, Tilting Boy, different publisher. We are learning a lot from them because we know now that we cannot do publishing. We've tried and failed. Another game that we are doing, it's a farms. It's also hidden mechanics, but it's completely innovative. It's different approach to everything. You can play with one hand and something like that. It's also in soft launch with one other publisher. And we are trying to do core premium projects, let's say for Steam. It's a action sword fighting game. These 3 projects have one thing in common, and that's experienced people. We managed to hire experienced people because now we have funds, and now it's time to acquire them. You need, at one point, people who know how to do things. You cannot be the smartest guy in the company to act like that. So you need a lot of help from people who will educate and scale and help you with your growth. So here is the summary of what I was talking about. Some tips that maybe will help you. This applies to building a company that is sustainable in terms of earning money. Maybe it's not something that you would like to make, or that game that would like to make, but we are all here because we like to make games. Any kind of games is better to make than to work on some other things that you don't like. And for then, I would say that you need to set your goals high, and even if you reach part of that goal, you will be very, very happy with that, and you'll be very satisfied. And if anyone has doubts about starting their own company or let's say making games, you should do it right now because it's a great moment. You have a great tools. Everybody's talking about great tools. You have Unity that's accessible, and you should start making games. You need to believe in yourself because you can make it. It's not that hard, but you need to be passionate about that. You need to work very very hard on that, and success will come if you are very motivated to do that. Um, you have alternative to work for great for game companies that are big here, but if you want to be like, let's say, indie, try to do that for 1 year to see if that fits you, if that satisfies you, and if you fail, it's okay. It's not a problem. You can continue if you have motivation, but you always have the opportunity to work from someone who is bigger. So I would suggest to you to start to making games and to believe in yourself, because I think that everybody who is passionate about that can make a living out of it. Maybe you are not making the games that you want, but you will be very satisfied. Thank you for your attention.
Cool. Thank you, Adrian. So before you guys leave to make your own studio, 2 questions for Radi. Okay.
Thank you for the talk. You mentioned that there were 2 more guys with you at first. You mentioned that also that you lived with your parents. How did the others 2 manage to make a living out of, if I'm not indiscreet?
Everybody was living with parents at that time.
Okay.
So
Makes
that's how
sense.
we try to. Actually, one guy had an apartment on his own, so But when you are trying to build something, you don't need anything. Your costs are minimal. You are not going out. You are not going anywhere. You are working 18 hours per day, so that's why you are not spending a lot of money. Let's say your parents can finance you. We did that after we finished our studies. It's a lot harder. It's not impossible, but it's a lot harder later when you have a family. Although I know some stories that people who had kids and everything managed to do that.
Oh, everybody? Okay. One more question.
Hello, thank you. I have a question, and I'm sorry if it's a bothersome one, but you said you had to cut some of the employees. What did you put focus on? Did you rather keep the cheaper ones so you can afford more teams so you can experiment further, or did you focus more on the professionals so you can go with a few of the recipes you already knew and were familiar with?
Yeah, and because we had a lot of projects, we first cut the projects that are not earning. If we have good people, if we had a good people there, we switch them to other projects. Over the years, we accumulated a lot of people who were not working at all. That was a problem because we didn't fire anyone. We were too friendly with anyone. That was our problem that got us to that point where we need to fire people. It's so I would think that 80% of that people that we fired were doing nothing at work. So it needed to be even earlier, but we did not detect that. We were trying to be friends. Okay, you are trying. Let's try more. Let's give you 3 more months and something like that. So that's why the most people who got fired were not working at all. I think we installed a software where you are it's not monitoring every activity, but your output. So we found out that our average was 3 to 4 hours per day working. That was our average in company. So you imagine if you only work those small amounts of time, what could you accomplish? So when we fired all these people, the productivity stayed the same. It was basically doing nothing. Those people who were high quality, everyone was okay with that. They understand that. So we try to with everyone to get to to help them to get something else. I personally send I gathered email for programmers who I fired, gathered those emails from them, and sent recommendations to other companies to help them find the new jobs easier. So we were doing everything for them to help them get that. We were not a company who closed the doors and okay, you are on your all alone. We were friends with those, so that was the problem.